What's up guys, this is Chris here, and today we're going to be out here taking advantage of some of this beautiful Iowa weather that happens like 3 times a year to film a 1,000-round review of the Swiss-made Phoenix Redback. Now before we do that, I do want to mention my page supporters. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate all the ammo and help. If you want to support the channel, that is absolutely the best way to do it. I also want to mention a link to a local shelter named Iowa. It's the YSS. It could really use your assistance. The link to donate is in the description as well. I also want to mention Attic Firearms, who sent this gun to me for review. I do want to preface that ahead of time. We do get firearms sent to us for review, and it doesn't change my opinion at all. But I do want to mention they did send it down for review. Now, this gun was a highly requested gun by me. I've been trying to get one of these for some time. They're pretty unheard of. Most people don't know what these are, but this is the Phoenix Redback Ultralight. This is the ultralight version of the heavier version, which I also have. These guns are Swiss-made CZ75 variants. Think of like a Shadow 2 with the tolerances of a custom-made 2011 is essentially what you're getting out of the factory. They are a 4.5-inch double single-action pistol, or you can get them in single-action only as well if you so choose. I went with double single action, even though it has a slightly worse trigger, because that means it's legal in divisions like Carry Optics and USPSA, so it's a more usable gun for me overall. That being said, if you're looking for just peak performance and you're not going to use it for competition, I would certainly recommend the single action. I have the single action and the larger gun, and it has a better trigger than this one, obviously because it's single action only. That's generally how things work. This one has an aluminum frame, but they do come in steel, or they do come in an aluminum steel mixture. They actually, I believe, also have a polymer frame version of this that's a lot cheaper. You don't know who Phoenix is. They actually used to be Chris, or at least they used to be part of Chris, and they used to make the Sphinx 3000, and this is the next evolution of that. This has a full Picatinny rail, some super killer looking slide serrations. I absolutely love these, how deep they are and how detailed they are. That is going to be a feature of this review, is overall build quality. The slide serrations are amazing. The serrations on the top to prevent glare are amazing. The optics mounting system is very sturdy and very well thought out. The ambi safety is larger on the strong side than the weak side. Awesome little feature there, and it does have a bit more of a gas pedal than the CZ does, so you can really press on it. Like I said, very audible and tactile. Trigger is absolutely amazing. 2.5 pound brake with a around 6 pound double action pull. Not quite as good as like a CZ custom Shadow 2 trigger, which comes out around the same price, but it is better than the standard Shadow 2. One of the features I love about this gun is that you can get it in an aluminum, polymer, or steel frame, unlike the Shadow 2 where you can only get it in the steel frame. Now I know CZ makes some variants like the P09, but it's just not the exact same. These will take all the same trigger components and stuff like that. We have checkering on the side of the gun here, on the side of the frame, for either side thumb placement. So if you're holding the gun like this, you can press down and into the gun and get more friction and allow for a better thumb placement overall. And you can also do that on the left side if you're left-handed. Very cool feature there. Standard CZ75 takedown, and then we have our lock grips installed here. These are G10 grips with a ton of texture. Very, very cool. And then we have 25 lines per inch checkering on the rear and the front of the grip as well. So only a 32-ounce gun by comparison to a Shadow 2, which I believe is 46 ounces, 44 ounces, 44 ounces. Ooh, getting old. But it is significantly lighter than a Shadow 2. What you get out of that is you're going to get an ability to carry it all day if you so choose. So imagine Shadow 2 performance with the ability to carry it all day, but also you're going to get faster transition and draw speed. The negative part about that, because physics are physics, is that you're going to get a little bit less recoil control with this. It does have a bigger beaver tail, and you can get higher up on the gun. You could get a better purchase, so that helps a little. But honestly, the loss of weight does significantly decrease the recoil control. You're going to feel a little bit more recoil with this, similar to a P226. I mean, they're both aluminum frame double action guns, so I would argue that the recoil pulse on this and the 226 are very, very similar. Very similar barrel length and very similar overall frame, but you're going to get better build quality, and you're going to get a faster trigger on this than you are a standard 226. I would say probably on par with the 226 Legion series single action only, and that's going to be the double single action variant of this. If you get into the single action only variant of this, it's going to have a trigger on par with like 2011s, which is really impressive, as it should, because this is a $3,000 plus gun. Now, we did the reliability testing of this, and I'd like to say it was 100%, but it definitely was not.
It did the thing.
Oh, it got locked out, yeah. That's not good. Didn't chamber that ammo either. And it stuck. We had an initial issue with some of the ammunition we were using. We were using remanufactured 115 grain by Phoenix Ammunition, and that ammo is notoriously underpowered and it's notoriously poor quality. Holy shit. Yeah, it's the ammo. Because it didn't have any problems before, and I tried to reload it in there and it stuck again. And we had some initial issues in the first 100 rounds. Part of that is because of the unbelievable tight tolerances of the chamber to allow some extreme accuracy, which we'll get to here in a minute. But when we started running honestly just standard non-remanufactured ammunition, we had absolutely no failures whatsoever. Past the 100 round point, we had no failures in the gun at all. With any type of ammunition. We even went back to the Phoenix Ammunition and we did not have an issue. And I think that's probably because we broke it in just enough for it to work. With even basic ammunition, Fiocchi or Aguila, or it's particularly Blazer Brass, which we get from Manning & Sons, thanks for that, which he helped out with the end of the review, we had some unbelievable accuracy. I shot some of the best groups I've ever shot with this gun. I was able to have 6-inch plate accuracy at 75 and 90 yards, almost on command, which is almost unheard of for me. There's only probably 4 or 5 guns I'm aware of that I can shoot that well, and they're all around this price range. My Wilson Combat 1911, my Atlas Gunworks, my Staccatos, stuff like that. It's unbelievably accurate though, I'll tell you that. 6-inch plate, that's a pretty tall order for, what are we at here, 90, 95 yards. So it's certainly on par with it on the accuracy category. It's arguably the most accurate production gun I've ever shot. If you're looking for just pure accuracy and you're looking for a gun that's legal in USPSA, carry optics, stuff like that, this is unbelievable. I mean, this is an amazing bullseye gun. Where it kind of falls apart a little, in my personal opinion, and it's hard for me to say, you know, my wife and I talked about this. The guys over at Attic Gunworks are cool guys. Eric's a cool dude. I've worked with them before, and I want to tell you that this is in every way better than a Shadow 2. But the reality is the Shadow 2, because it's heavier, and because it has some more aftermarket parts, is probably better in the speed category. I would argue this is a little bit more accurate, but that gun is certainly faster. It's heavier, it controls the recoil better, and the CZ custom trigger, not the standard stock trigger, has a shorter reset and it allows you some blinding speed. I wanted this gun to have that good a trigger, but it just doesn't, sadly. It's got a really good trigger, but not the best. Another thing I found that was an issue with this gun that I didn't like as far as aftermarket availability is going to be the fact that it didn't fit in any of the Shadow 2 holsters that I own, and it also does not take Shadow 2 grips. If you're going to make a clone of a very popular gun, I would recommend, if you were the company making it, to not go off pattern, because that's kind of the idea behind a clone, is that you're going to want to have that aftermarket support already in place. If you could use Shadow 2 grips and Shadow 2 holsters with this, and you could put Shadow 2 trigger components, which I think you actually might be able to do. I think it does take the trigger components, which we'll find out later. I wanted to run the gun in its stock configuration for the full 1,000 round review. It would be a higher selling point for me because it does have some features the Shadow doesn't. However, the Shadow sadly does have some features that this doesn't. So I wanted this to be the ultimate amazing, end of the world, awesome competition gun, but sadly it's just kind of tied with the Shadow 2, which is still a pretty fucking lofty praise. But that being said, I just wanted to get that out of the way. Other than aftermarket support and a little bit less recoil control, the gun is absolutely fantastic. After the first 100 rounds, no reliability issues, and we had some excellent accuracy, good ergonomics, and the advantage of this over the Shadow 2 is you might lose recoil control, but what you gain for sure is an ability to carry it all day because it is much lighter, which I think is a big, big advantage. And I would like to see CZ come out with an aluminum parade version of this eventually, or maybe make the next version a little more compatible. Either way, I'm obviously going to keep this gun. I fucking love this gun, and I do believe it's worth the price, but it's really going to be up to you, especially when you get in the thousands of dollars competition pistols. There's a lot of competition there. You've got your Shadow 2s, you've got your P210 targets, you've got your 226s, your 226 Legions, your Staccatos. All those things fall in the same price range as this, and I think at the end of the day, it doesn't come down to performance a lot of times because all those guns are excellent. What it's going to come down to is what you feel and fit the best. And if you shoot a CZ Shadow 2 really, really well, and you want something a little more accurate, a little more high-end, but you also want it lightweight, I think the Ultralight fits the bill. And if you want something a little bit more accurate but heavier, you can go with the Redback, because all of the disadvantages of recoil control of this is also fixed by the heavier version of the Redback itself, because there is a steel frame version of that as well, which we have previously reviewed. Overall, I think it's worth the money. I think you get a lot of good features. I think you get an amazingly beautiful gun, which is a thing I think is often underestimated on video. But when you see some of these things in person and you realize just the top-notch coatings that some of these companies use. If you look at this and you look at something like a Taurus or even a Glock, this doesn't even look like it's been in a freaking holster. This has almost no wear marks whatsoever, and we've beat the crap out of this gun. I've already taken this to several shoots, and my friends have shot this. We had this at the Brownells event. I got beat up in the back of my car all day, and it just looks still brand new. So I'm really impressed with the gun. We didn't clean it the whole time. We just oiled it. And overall, I think it's absolutely excellent. I think the two things for sure that I would fix, though, are going to be, I would fix the gun to make sure it fits in the holsters, and I would also make the grips backwards compatible with the CZ pattern, just so you could have the thousands and thousands of grips and holsters available for those companies already. That being said, love the gun. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. Please help out your local homeless shelters, and remember to recycle. I'll check you later.
Man, I do.
I just farmer's blue, so do I have any snot all over me?
Nope.
It turns out farmers really farmers blow. That's really a thing we do.
You're...
Who has time for...
You're not a farmer.
I farmed a thing before. I've had an ear of corn. I've hoed beans. I've detasseled. I've hoed strawberries. Beat that.